What's going on, design people? Welcome back to another video. Here's the second homework assignment of the School of Motion Design Bootcamp. As I mentioned in my previous video, I'm not going to unveil too much like specific information. It's just going to be very high level. You're going to kind of just hear the brief, see my assignment, see my iterations, and then hopefully show you an animation afterwards. The animation is not a part of the design bootcamp. That is just something that I wanted to do after creating all these homework assignments. So with homework assignment 2, let's jump in. So our fictitious client for this homework assignment was Fox. So basically what we're having to do is create a title sequence for this fictitious TV show that's starting, which is a dance competition. It's called Urban Freestyle Tokyo Throwdown. So it takes place in Tokyo, Japan. So right off the bat, you got so much that you can start reference researching. You can start doing Tokyo, Japan, start looking at their culture, stuff that's around there. Then you can look at dance competitions, start researching that. Even more, some of the images that they gave us really kind of portray it being like a b-boy kind of dance competition. So there's a whole nother genre of stuff that you could look at, start texturizing stuff. So prior to this one, the homework assignment for the other one, there is one before this. It was just kind of not as entertaining as the rest of the assignments, was to create a logo. So basically just working with type. So we learned all about type for the first 2 days, and then our first homework assignment was to create a logo geared around this title sequence. So you'll see the logo here later in a second. So basically create 4 to 6 boards, and that's pretty much it. And he kind of takes you through his versions of his boards, him meeting the guy who's instructing the class, and then you can kind of base it off his or kind of go your own direction. So let me show you some of the stuff that we got involved in this. So basically what we're getting off the bat, they're giving you a bunch of images that you could use, that you can actually cut out yourself and stuff like that. So that was also part of this homework week, was to learning how to cut out stuff properly. Things with a lot of hair, things with a lot of background, things with a lot of noise. So they actually gave you pre-cut out stuff, Photoshop files. So if you wanted to jump in and just do like the 4 minimum boards and show your story with their cutouts, you can. I actually took some images that I wanted to use and cut them out myself using their technique, which was super helpful. I think that was kind of the point of learning how to cut out using like black and white and levels and channels and stuff like that. It was very helpful for me. But I'm often using the pen tool. I find that it makes a pretty good edge. Otherwise, yeah, you just kind of jump in and start creating your first set of boards. So let me show you the first set of boards that I created. So after doing a bit of research about what I wanted to start using as far as like textures, I created some of the stuff in Illustrator and then brought it into Photoshop. I saw a lot of like those crosswalk textures, so I heavily played off that. I used paint splatter because b-boys graffiti is very heavily related to that, so I used that as this essence of like a theme throughout my boards. And let's jump in. So here you got the first frame, introducing that first cutout dancer. Obviously this would be live action, so the dancer would actually be dancing, but for this sake it'll just be moving images. So here's that first image of that first cutout. Got some texture around it, a little bit of grain. Everything's kind of like balanced towards the right third, right? So moving into the second frame, introducing that second dancer, and then the splatter kind of comes on. Texture is kind of common throughout, and I kind of played off that circle motif pretty heavily throughout this video. So here's the third frame, kind of introduces more of the team members here, kind of brings some more depth to it, still playing off that circle and pattern and the splatter. And here we have like the type's actually given to us. So the name of the team and the people, the names are actually given to us. So that's one less thing we need to figure out. Could just jump right into mocking it. So this is the kind of mock that I came up with, which has like this kind of like cut effect right here. Then it brings me into this close-up shot. You have this dancer kind of doing his thing. He's in his move, and it's like the depth of focus is centered right around his face too. So then you have the element of like the texture, the text coming in, so you kind of get the implication that something is going to be coming in, and then it lands on the actual title of the show, and then it lands and transitions into the network logo lock. So these came out really well. I like the way this is balanced, the texture, the slant playing off the X, I think was a cool like little like thing to add, pop to add to it. I think the drop shadow is definitely adding some depth between the two layers. So overall, I think I came out pretty well. So let me show you what happened with the review. This is actually what came out of it. So there was a lot of feedback that came through with it, especially in this frame. I'm not going to go into detail what was actually said, But in the instance of what's going on, it was just the color blend between the two. How is this going to play out? It's very harsh on the eye. So really kind of reworking some of the color, especially in here, and then also kind of introducing how things are going to transition. So from frame to frame, show a little bit of a hint of how things are going to move. And so it's a lot of it. This one tracked well. He really liked this one. And logo lockup, it's just playing with placement and things like that. It's floating a little too high here. You can tell like the bottom half has a little more. So just things like that, just recreating a better version for this next one. So let's jump into that next one. So here we have version 2. So a lot of the frames will still be the same. So some of the ones that were balanced well, that just needed a little bit of tweak here and there, you won't really notice too much, but it does play in some of the other scenes where you'll see the difference. So you can see the drop shadow there is added and stuff like that, so giving the element of a floor there a little bit too. So now this one is going to show really like what I was thinking in my head about how this would play out. So it's playing with Z space. So you'll see characters introduced like this, as like one comes in and then one will follow back into Z space and kind of get more blurry. So there's that first shot. Here's that second shot, as I was mentioning. Kind of reworked the color scheme a little bit here. You know, I was running on time. I'm not sold on this color right now still, but you can see bringing a little more implication on like movement. You can see that guy blurred out in the background. This guy's more in focus, so you can see like that push kind of happening. Same dancer, same kind of splatter. Here I changed the whole color scheme altogether. I, kind of spaced out the dancers now, bringing a little more depth, replayed with the size a little bit too, and then kind of recreated a different color that would, I think, blend better here. The type is still the same, just a little bit of a change in like positioning. Just playing more off the thirds on that right hand side, and then really playing with the thirds on this left hand side, and just kind of balancing the two. So you can see color changed on this one pretty heavily. This one pretty much stayed the same. I didn't really do anything to make any difference. I think the paint splatter changed the color of it. But ideally, this one tracked pretty well in reference to review. It's landing on that logo again. Did not change much, but just the positioning. And I think I changed out the secondary type here too. I think I threw in a different font. And then it just lands on the same logo lockup that we had before. So didn't really change too much here. I think a lot of this stayed the same. And I think a lot of that kind of reflected in the review too. Let's go into the second one here. And you see the final setup of the boards. Seems like it blends a little well. Very heavy blue, right? But yeah, it was tough to play with that other color, especially introducing it as like a full background color. So I just decided to stay with like that blue tones that they gave us in the color palette. So you can see some of the feedback. It's still playing with color, still kind of come with a better blend of things too, just framing things like that. So if I decide to do a different iteration, I probably will do round 3, but that's the design. And that's it actually. So my next goal would actually be move this into After Effects and start making this puppy move before the video releases, but that'll all depend on how long it takes me to animate this, and to if I actually have time during the week with work to be able to churn this out. But no excuses, let's just jump on and get it done. So with that, there's a second homework assignment. If you have any questions, hit that comment button. If you like this video, hit that like button. If you like me or you want to like me, subscribe to the channel. It'll be fun. Peace out.
Yeah.